Hi guys, and welcome back to another video of mine. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A for all of you guys that have asked me in my Instagram. A couple of weeks back I did go ahead and post a Q&A. For those of you guys that may know, I already do have a running business right now, and I've been in business already for about 2 months. So I just got my way through being able to film this video. So I wanted to film this video for you guys and kind of give you guys a little insight for all of you guys that have been asking me different types of questions. So I wanted to definitely bring you guys a video and let you guys know what and how I started and what I did and what really drove me to get me where I wanted to be. So yeah, so this is pretty much just going to be a little sit down with me, a little Q&A questions that I got from my Instagram, and I'll be trying to answer all the questions that you guys asked me. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first question, or the two questions that I've been getting a lot, has been what motivated you to get where you're at and how did you do it? So those are the two main questions that people ask me, and honestly I've always been driven and I've always been motivated, and every job that I've had has been with sales. But a little bit more backtrack, my mom told me that ever since I was a little girl, I would always ask for cash registers. I always asked for money. I've always had that driven of me playing in an office and me like being that girl behind the desk, me being that boss as the. So yeah, so pretty much that has been my concept my whole life. Even my mom, when she would go to like her WIC appointments when we were little, or you know, any type of doctor visits that she had to sit with the doctor, I was so passionate about that, and I never really understood why, but I always knew that I was so passionate of being behind a desk, being directing, and just being it, right? So that's always been my insight. That's always been what motivated me. That's always been what I think has driven me. Because I felt like I've always wanted to be a boss. And I know, as cliche as, you know, as everything sounds, I felt like I started that when I was a very young age. I've always been really bossy. I think I'm the bossiest from all my sisters and my brother. I think I have that boss attitude, unfortunately. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. But I have that attitude a lot. And I guess there's different types of avenues and you see it that way, right? But I mean, for the most part, I've always really been driven that way, and I've had that since I was little. And now forwarding back to like my actual career, I felt like I've always had that inside of me. I've always wanted to be a boss. Even when I was like working for my first job, I didn't appreciate the way that, you know, the managers were treating me and stuff like that. So I felt like I always wanted to take control of my life, and I wanted to direct my own life and not have nobody pretty much directing it for me. So that pretty much motivated me when I was 16. I felt like I found my goal, my instinct. What I wanted to do is obviously be a business owner, but I did not know of what exactly. So you know, so I went through life. I worked my whole life. I worked since I was 16 all the way up until I was 27, you can say. And yeah, and I worked pretty much for a good 10-11 years nonstop, every year, working, grinding, figuring it out, finding little hustles here and there. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I was doing. But with all this, me thinking about the path, me thinking about life, me thinking about my direction, I never took a step back and really kind of get in between the cracks, you can say. Like for example, like what was my initial passion? I always heard people talk about passions, For example, like people that like to dance, people that like to do basketball, people that like to do sports, you know. But for me, I never really understood what my passion was. But I always had a passion for food and for cooking. But I never really understood if that was passion for what I was like excited for. So then, in a nutshell, pretty much, I started like, maybe this was when I was probably 24, 25. That was around that rocky time that I can definitely give you guys a story of how that happened and where I am now, and how that part of my life motivated me to be where I am now. But I can definitely do a separate video about that, because I do want to get into detail with that, because that was really life-changing for me. And I think because of that scenario that happened to me and that situation in my life, I felt like that motivated me to be where I am now. So in a way, I'm thankful for it, but I do want to bring awareness to all those people out there that have problems at work and don't know how to handle them, and you know, are just fed up with your company, or just in general. I remember when I was little, I would always love to watch cooking shows, and I would love to wake up in the morning. Probably it was maybe like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and I would wake up in the morning and cook my family pancakes. That was the first thing I loved to do. I would always see it, and I would always want to do it, and they looked amazing on the commercials, so I always wanted to do the pancakes with the egg, and you know, like the hash browns or the sausage. I always wanted to go an extra mile for my family, and I felt like I always wanted to cook for them. So I think every weekend I would wake up in the morning and I would cook pancakes. That was my thing. And then, you know, growing a little older, after being 6, 7, 8, I started watching a lot of cooking channels, the cooking channel, the Food Network. I loved all that, and then I started feeling like I started getting like a passion for it. I never really understood what it was, but I left it alone. And then high school came around again, and I enrolled myself in cooking class because people said that was the easiest class, right? The irony. So I enrolled into cooking class my freshman year, and yeah, it was the easiest class. But then I started learning a lot of things. I started learning that, you know, how to properly cook a chicken, how to properly cook beef, how to properly mix ingredients, so tips and tricks and stuff like that. Stuff that my mom had already taught me in her own way, but I was doing it in a more strategical way, the correct way, right? So I started doing that, and all through high school I took cooking courses, all from my freshman year to my senior year. I was the TA for the cooking class, or the cooking teacher. So yeah, so pretty much that was that. And then I started growing this passion for it. I just loved cooking, and I started recording, taking pictures of my plates, and just really embracing my cooking talent that I never thought that I had. So I mean, when people ask me what motivated you, or what was it, how did you get where you're at now, honestly, I can tell you I have so many different answers, and as you can see, I have a long answer for you. So the only thing that I can think of is, if you're trying to start a business, or if you're trying to open something, or you know, anything really, I would recommend for you to kind of really look into your deepest feelings and your deepest core, and understand like what really drives you and what really motivates you to become the person that you want to be, or to be the person that you want to be in the future. So honestly, it always goes back to what's your passion and what motivates you. So I mean, I have my own answer, anybody else can have a different answer, but like I said, I think you really have to dig deep and understand what is that drives you, if that makes sense. So I know this was a long answer for two questions, but I feel like it's really important to really understand that to not just get in a business just because you want to make money, because unfortunately if you get stuck in that business that's not being successful, you're gonna hate it altogether. So yeah, so if you're motivated and you're driven and you have that passion for something, I would say go for it. So that's those two questions that I wanted to answer for you guys. The other questions that I have is, did you quit your job? And to answer your question, I did. I quit my job about a month ago. I knew that I wasn't able to do it. I actually quit when we had that first week, so when we first opened, so I didn't even balance work and having a business, because I felt like if I am going to be committed to this, I am going to be fully on 120%, because I did this for me, I did this for my future, I did this for anything that comes forward. Alright guys, so the other question that people have asked me is, what are your plans? Honestly, I felt like I've never lived how I live now. I feel like now I live so freely. Now I feel like I have something to look forward to. It feels like I birthed a child. I mean, I don't know how it feels. I mean, I don't want to put it to that extreme. But I feel like I need to take care of it. I feel like I need to be day by day. Like, I feel like my life revolves around my business right now. So in a nutshell, I don't know what my plans are as of yet, but I do have future goals. So I mean, you can plan things as much as you can, but sometimes they don't come out the way that you want them to. But do I have goals? Yes, I have goals, and I will definitely, I mean, like any business, you want to grow as a business and you want to make your business a global thing. But I mean, we'll see. We'll get there when we'll get there. We have so many different plans for so many different avenues. This is just part of our business. And when I say our, it's mine and my boyfriend's business. And which leads me into the next question that people are asking and are curious about, if this donut shop is mine and my boyfriend's. And to answer your question, yes it is. Alright, next question is, what are your plans? Same thing. Let's see. Next question is, what's been the best thing about it? The best thing about owning a business is just pretty much like I've mentioned before, just being your own boss and having that power and having, you know, you working and you grinding for something, not for somebody else. I feel like you're, like I mentioned, I know it sounds weird, but like I feel like I have something to take care of, and it's gonna, as much work as I put into it, I'm gonna get results back. And this quote always stayed with me. I've been in sales my whole life, so this quote always stayed with me. You know, you plant the seed and you water it as much as you want, as much as you can't, no more. Grow that tree, and eventually it'll start giving you fruits or vegetables, or I mean fruits. So yeah, so pretty much that's the way that I see it. I mean, you water it, you grow it, and in return it'll give you beautiful oranges, you know. So it's just kind of that living concept of, you put in your work as much as you want, you grow it, and you'll get good things in return. So yeah, so pretty much that is my answer to that. Just pretty much knowing that you have something to look forward to and you're working for yourself. And then the next question is, what are your plans for JJ's Platillos? And that's still the same. It has not changed. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus right now, we are kind of in a standstill. Obviously, we want to make sure we're providing meals right now, but because of the lack of inventory and stores and stuff like that, we can't really provide with that, with all those cooking. I mean, all those foods that we make about, we can sometimes get up to making 500 meals an order, you know, and that's just minimum what we make. It just varies in different variations. So I mean, we make so many meals that I feel like we don't want to be so short on meals that, you know, we're not able to fulfill that order. So I feel like I don't want to promise customers, and then what happened to us this last time when we were ready to get all the meals, I mean about 2 weeks ago and everything, we just didn't have enough inventory to continue the meals, so we had to reimburse everybody. So are JJ Platillos staying the same? Yes, they are, and if anything, we're gonna evolve into something better. So not necessarily the food, because I know you guys love our food and we appreciate that, but also maybe, you know, there's always room for improvement, but at the same time we want to make a website for you guys. We want to make sure that we have that going also, not only our Instagram. By the way, here's our Instagram. And so yeah, so that's that question. And then the other one is, how did I get started? Well, all I can say is, if you want something, then you will make it happen. And what I mean by that is, obviously, if you feel like money is the in this case it is, then you'll save up, you know. That's why it's very important to start saving up and you know, start investing in little things. Like, for example, if you want to buy a house, you know, start small. For all those people that are in their 20s, early 20s, and you guys are making a good amount of money, a decent amount of money, I would recommend for you guys, if you guys are living with your parents, buy a house. You know, that's the best form of income, I would say, to have, because, you know, you're growing equity, and then in the long run, let's say 3-4 years down the line, you sell it and you turn it around, and then you have, you know, some equity that you've gained, and now you can invest into a business. The next thing is save, you know, save money, put money aside. I know I've been saying I'm gonna make a video to help you guys budget, and I definitely will, but I would say, you know, start off with 10% off your check, start off with 20%, start growing your check that way, and minimize any costs, pretty much. Is you know, is that dress really necessary? Do you really need it? Or is it going to be in your closet forever? Yeah, so pretty much I would recommend to save, you know, invest while you're young. For all those people throwing your money away and like on dumb stuff, I would say, I mean, dumb stuff can mean so many different things to so many people, but for me, I started young, I started saving, and I started having a vision since a young age. I'm not perfect, I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying start young. Right now that you can, start learning things, start evolving, start reading, start, you know, paying attention in school, as far as high school and in college. So keep growing your brain. So yeah, so just learn, pick people's minds, you know, do a lot of that. Have a mentor, have them help you, have them answer questions. Get really comfortable with your professors. And what I mean by that is, understand that when you're in, for example, for all those that are watching me and are in school, a lot of the reasons why a lot of students fail their classes is because they don't understand the literature, they don't understand the material, and they're too embarrassed to ask. So I feel like obviously professors have a set time, so you guys can go in groups, you know, and talk to them, or in person, one-on-one after class, and really let them know, like, I'm not understanding this, I need your help, you know. So I had my psychology teacher, she, at first, when I first started taking classes, I didn't really understand a lot of the product, a lot of the material, so, you know, we met basically 2 times a week, and until I understood the material, which took me about a month for me to understand. So yeah, so I would say just really understand where you're at and where you want to be, and set goals and set a mindset, and just kind of have that tunnel vision. So yeah, so pretty much those are the questions that I was asked a lot. I don't know if I answered all of them. For the most part, those were all of them. Other ones were questions that I was able to answer within that question. So yeah, so if you guys like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and I will be making more videos, of course, because we are into this unfortunate situation, and I will be making more videos for you guys, and I have an exciting video coming very soon, so definitely stay tuned. And if you guys haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe, like, and comment. Yeah, so yeah, definitely give it a thumbs up, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.